And welcome to you on this Thursday, January 3rd, 2020 for another edition of Mid-Suburban League West Conference Basketball. I'm Ryan Fay with you here on Hoffman Estates Cable TV Sports Network. As tonight, our game of the week brings us back here to Conant High School, the home of the Cougars, as the Cougars who come in with a record of 3-14 overall, 1-4 in conference play, welcoming in the Saxons of Schaumburg, who have a very strong start to the 2019-20 regular season, with a record of 17-3 and 4-1 in conference play so far this season. Now, these two teams previously met back earlier in the regular season over at Schaumburg, and in particular in that one it was the Saxons coming in with their home victory. 54-39 was the final, and that one for the Saxons, who were unbeaten at the time, improved to 5-0 on the season, while the Cougars were winless at the time after that loss to Schaumburg. And in that game, it was Shamari Brown, the football standout, having a career best 21 points and 6 rebounds in that 15-point victory over the Conant Cougars, while for Devon Ellis, who has been one of the mainstays for this Cougars program so far in his tenure, had 18 points in the contest as well. Now, coming off of their recent games, we'll start off with the visiting Saxons. It was one that came down to a final tip in the final seconds of the game against Barrington just this past Friday. It was a full-court baseball-style press that, credit to Chris Hodges, the Wisconsin-bound product, he was able to tip and deflect away for the Saxons to hold on for a 51-50 victory to get them to now 5 wins in a row and are now 9-1 in their last 10 games. This will be also the team's 98th all-time meeting between these two teams, so a historic matchup nevertheless, but the Cougars are looking to get back to their winning ways, while the Saxons are looking for a 6-pack of wins in a row. We'll have the Saxons and the Cougars and the national anthem and our starting lineups coming your way next here on our Hoffman Estates Cable TV Sports Network Game of the Week.
Introduce tonight's starting lineups. First for the Saxons of Schaumburg High School, coached by Wayne Hester and assisted by Mark Skilling. A 6-foot sophomore guard, number 10, Maurice Patterson. A 6'1" junior guard, number 11, Armin Terosian. A 6'3" senior forward, number 15, Jared Shue. A 6'8" junior forward, number 20, Chris Hodges. And a 6-foot senior guard, number 22, Joseph Sturino. And our starting lineup for your Cougars from Conant High School, coached by Jim Bailey IV, assisted by Jim Lundquist and Jim Bailey III. A 6-foot senior guard, number 12, Matt McCullough. A 5'7" junior guard, number 14, Johnny Cobb. A 6-foot junior forward, number 30, Brendan Schroeder. A 6'6" junior forward, number 32, Sean Beckman. And a 6'5" junior guard, number 11, Devon Ellis.
So now that you have met both teams, we are about to get set here on this Thursday night inside the William N. Perry Gymnasium, as the Saxons in their road maroon colors with the yellow trim numbers and letters going left to right on your screen, while the Cougars in their home whites with the blue numbers and letters going right to left. Ellis and Hodges at the tip, and underway we are here at Conant High School. The opening tip won by Ellis and the Cougars. Again, when these two teams Met previously earlier this season. We talked about it in our open. It was a 54-39 victory as Hodges trips up at midcourt trying to go for the loose ball. It was a 15-point victory at home as the foul there went on Sean Beckman. So Beckman gets called for the foul. That'll be his first, a 6'6" junior forward for head coach Jim Maley IV for the Cougars. And Coach Maley IV, he wasn't at the Conant at Schaumburg game earlier in the year. He was fighting the flu bug as this ball's out of bounds. And it'll go the other way. He was out with the flu bug, and that had left Jim Lundquist as the acting head coach in that game in meeting number 97 all time when that game happened back on December 6th. As this pass inside, they wanted Ellis. That's taken away. No score here, 45 seconds into our opening quarter. As they look to go inside, now it finds Hodges, and that's going to be a foul. And I believe that's going to be on Beckman, and it is. So that's going to be 2 quick fouls in 50 seconds for Sean Beckman. And we've seen him rack up early foul trouble a couple of times here so far this season. And they've had to go into the likes of Brandon Schroyer as this turnaround shot inside is up and good for Jared Chu, the 6'3" senior forward. And then we have our first points of the ball game as Devon Ellis, who has been a mainstay in this Cougars offense and has always stuck out despite the rather disappointing record that they've sported this season so far. At 3-14, they're 3-7 in their last 10. 1-4 in conference play, and they've dropped their last 3 games. As Ellis at the free throw line. We'll leave this one off now for McCullough at the top, and now back to Ellis at the right side. Ellis in now for Beckman, who we mentioned picked up those 2 fouls in 50 seconds to begin our first quarter of play. 2-0 Saxons as Ellis into the paint. Off the back iron, no. Beckman's offensive rebound and putback is just a hair too strong, and the rebound controlled by Schaumburg. Now Patterson into the lane, shot up and good. The sophomore taking it coast to coast for a 4-0 Saxons lead here now, 2 minutes in. Mentioned the last time these two teams played, and the Wisconsin-bound Chris Hodges was limited in that action when these two teams had last scored off because of countless double teams. And can you blame Conant for doing that? No. But that did allow Shamari Brown in that game to have a career-high 21.6 rebounds back on December 6th. And so far, that being Conant trying to limit the touches to Hodges. This left arc 3 is no good. And the offensive rebound there by Shu. So fresh possession again here for Schaumburg. Terosian leaving this one off now for Shu again. Right corner 3 is up, and that right corner 3 is good for Joseph Storino, the 6' senior. So a 7-0 start here for the visiting Saxons. And Storino, who in that 51-50 win at home against Barrington back on Friday, had 6 points, and all 6 came from behind the 3-point line. And that game was a back-and-forth battle all the way to the very end, and it was Chris Hodges on defense with the clutch tip away on the baseball pass from the baseline on the other end of the court as Ellis with the great footwork inside, getting Conant's first points of our contest tonight to cut the deficit to 5. Oh, and a bad pass there from Patterson. That's trying to go in more with Shu. As a substitution aside now, as for Conant, Nick Arami now checks into the ball game. So just almost halfway through our first quarter of play, and we get a whistle and an offensive foul. And getting a little gimpy there after the play as the foul goes on Brandon Schroyer. That's good. Storino comes off a little shaken up. As that's going to bring in A.J. Prowell, number 55. So we come in off that foul. So he comes in. We'll have to see the status of Storino a little bit later on. As Prowell will leave this one back off now to the top for Patterson. Just over halfway done with our first quarter, 7-2 Schaumburg. Prowell, now that one left off there. As also checking in off that timeout was Arnav Karnik, number 12 for the Saxons on that last dead ball. Quick passing here as Prowell, now to the right corner. Karnik couldn't handle it. So we're seeing a few early turnovers here as Ryan Blakely will come on into the ball game as Schroyer checks out. And the only 2 points so far for Conant have come from Devon Ellis. And I mentioned that slow start that they had that continued through all 4 quarters against Palatine. Ellis had half the team's points, as that's going to be a 30-second timeout called. It'll be called by the Cougars. So they will have the 30-second timeout. It's the first timeout by either team here so far in our first quarter of play. We'll look to get you some scores happening around the area on this Thursday night as well as we go along our broadcast here. And thank you for joining us here on the HETV Sports Network Game of the Week. Steve Eisen, of course, running our cameras and producing our broadcast tonight. I'm Ryan Fay with you here. So quickly off that 30-second timeout, we come back into play. It'll be Garami that brings it into the front court. Garami now getting it right back. As Ellis trying to drive along the baseline, but he stepped out of bounds. And that'll be a turnover as Ajani Cobb now will come back in. Making the call there along the sidelines was Mike Snedgrass, one of our 3 officials tonight, and Les O'Connor, and not the former Bear, now retired, Kyle Long. As Hodges has control. Saw them, that being Conant and Schaumburg on December 6th. Hodges had limited touches as this 3 is up and good for Conant. Get some other matchups happening tonight. We'll share some scores as they just get underway with their tip. Palatine and Fremd squaring off. And Fremd is off to a tremendous start as well this season. They're 4-1 in conference play, just like Schaumburg and Palatine to their credit, as Karnik the other way in transition. Now a 10-point lead for the Saxons just like that. Mentioned Conant 1-4 so far in conference play, as Cobb wanted to drive baseline there, but Garami instead. But a nice little give and go as Garami would try to go with a back cut. Or excuse me, rather Cobb trying to go for it, and Garami wanted to feed it that way. Garami trying to cross over, will rotate towards the top, stop at the right arc, as it finds Beckman, who's playing with 2 fouls right now. Ellis at the free throw line. Couldn't find anywhere to go inside as we approach 90 seconds here to go in our first quarter of play. Ellis almost lost that off his foot. Ball still loose. And it is a tie-up on the floor. Jump ball is called, and the arrow will point to the Saxons' favor. Cameron Nix and Karsten Canella now will check on in as Hodges and Patterson come on out. Also Beckman now takes a seat as Ryan Blakely is back into the ball game. Quick passing here as it goes to the right side for Karnik, who drained a 3 a little earlier. Shu leaves that one off now at the top for Nix. Canella for Karnik as we now have under a minute to play in the opening quarter. Perimeter passing here in this sequence for the Saxons as now they work it inside. Shu looks to keep working inside, instead goes back out to Karnick. Shu along the baseline with a nice bounce pass and in for Canella for 2. Lead now up to 12. Schroyer for Garami. Schroyer trying to muscle his way inside, and he is fouled on the floor. Shot wouldn't have counted as the foul there goes on Karsten Canella, as that's his first personal. It's also the team's first of the quarter. Pass in, but that's going to be going the other way. And I believe they're going to say, what do we have here? Looks like we had a foul right before the inbound. Because that ended up looking like a bad pass. So that's now the second on Karsten Canella. So we'll redo the inbound, which is 21 seconds here to go in the first. Ellis will have it off the screen from Schroyer. Inside, off the glass and in. Devon Ellis taking matters with his own hands there. Has all 4 of the team's points in this quarter. As with 7 seconds to go, Prowell drives, and that is a charge called. Schroyer standing tall inside. And perhaps they'll try to keep momentum going a little bit here towards the end of this first quarter. They have enough time to run the floor if they can, or so choose to do so. And they'll let their main man Ellis do it with 2. Ellis with 1. Behind the back at the buzzer, just short at the front of the rim. And that is how the first quarter will come to an end. But a little late surge there from the side of the Cougars, even though they trail by 10, 14-4. As we'll begin our second quarter play here momentarily. Some other matchups happening in the MSL tonight. Buffalo Grove is over at Wheeling in East Division action. Elk Grove, the Grenadiers, are over at Rolling Meadows to take on the Mustangs. And the Mustangs off to a nice 4-1 start in conference play, to their credit as well. Hersey is over at Prospect. Hoffman Estates taking on Barrington, and Hoffman Estates was the last time that Conant was able to defeat an opponent, as that one came back on a week ago, or 2 weeks ago today, back on January 10th, or rather 15 days ago, if we'll be more exact. And mentioned Palatine taking on Fremden. That one has a lot of implications in terms of the division standings, with Fremden Palatine both at 4-1 and nearly parallel overall record-wise. Fremden at 11-8 and Palatine at 11-9 overall on the season. And what a matchup it'll be next week, next Thursday, when Schaumburg takes on Fremden as well. As we start the second quarter, Ellis is blocked by Hodges. That's a matchup you always mark when these two teams meet during the season. As this one is out of bounds, it'll stay with Schaumburg, but there is the presence of the Wisconsin-bound Chris Hodges, the 6'8 junior forward, already committed to Big Ten basketball for his collegiate career. As Jackson Bond now will come off the bench to start this second quarter of play for Schaumburg. Hodges, or rather Nix. Now it's over to Hodges. They want to work inside, but Hodges again facing a double team as Bond's corner 3 is good. And the Schaumburg faithful that have made the trip showing their roar and appreciation, as Ellis trying to quickly answer on the baseline, can't. That's out of bounds. It's going to stay here with the Cougars, however. So they'll get a new possession as they trail by 13 with 7:16 to go in the half. Karnick with 5 points for the Saxons. Hodges still scoreless, as this one is tipped, and a great save in there by Nix to Hodges. Hodges to the right corner. Karnick is feeling it, and it'll roll on in for Arnav Karnick. He's got 8 first half points so far, and it's ballooned to a 20-4 lead with 6:59 to go here in our first half of play. But it's Arnav Karnick, the story early on, the 6'1 senior guard, has helped this lead now increase to 16. Some other matchups around the state of Illinois tonight. We'll be seeing Streamwood taking on South Elgin. And Downers Grove South hosting Crane tonight. And some games that went final yesterday. St. Charles East defeated Wheaton North 83-62. And in the far northwest area, Burlington Central gets the road victory at McHenry 67-44. Again, these matchups happened yesterday. Libertyville getting the road victory at Waukegan 63-50. Of course, Waukegan, not an easy place to play, and that's been known as one of the toughest venues to be a road opponent to go to, regardless of how good Waukegan would be during that season. As that is one rowdy crowd. I've had the opportunity to be there a couple of times, and that's one of the best scenes in Illinois high school basketball. As we come back in off the timeout, Ellis has it in the right corner, guarded by Hodges. Stroyer top of the circle going inside as he finds it down to McCullough. Now Stroyer gets it again. It's Ellis against Hodges inside. Ellis has that one. May have been tipped the first time. It'll go out of bounds now off of Hodges, and it'll stay with Conant with 6:36 to play in the half. But that is one prime matchup, number 20 in maroon and number 11 in white. As Ellis now sees Hodges right in front of him again. Ellis looks to drive one-on-one off the glass and in. Nice little controlled patience by Ellis going inside and the right side of the paint. He's got all 6 of Conant's points. Karnick again, and why not? Karnick now with another 3. He's got 11. Ellis inside, tough move, missed, gets his own rebound, and he's blocked again by Hodges. Right corner, another 3, that's good. Jackson Bond, and it's now 26-6. A 3-pointer party as Beckman answers with a quick 2 off the feed from Ellis. Bond, cross court, Karnick again, and it rims in and out, no good. As the Schaumburg faithful that have made the trip, trying to make this feel like a home court with their noise, as there was a whistle on the shot and a hockey swap of changes for Schaumburg as Patterson, Storino check into the ball game. As Bond gets a nice round of applause coming off to the bench. As also Jared Schuchek back in for Schaumburg. Meanwhile, Garami also came back in for Conant. Karnick and head coach Wade Heisler trying to keep that hot hand out there. And that shot's not going to count. They'll wave it off. It's going to be a foul on the floor, as the foul there is going to go on Matt McCullough. So McCullough picks up the foul, and that's going to be his second. That's the team's 5th here. So they would have one more to give should they choose before the 1-and-1 bonus takes effect, as we're almost 3 minutes into the second quarter. Storino now for Patterson. In for Hodges, guarded by Ellis. Hodges owned Ellis defensively on a couple of possessions, and this time Ellis wins that defensive battle. Looks to get aggressive there, but it doesn't work. Tried to jump in and intercept that pass, but Hodges was able to easily get it and finish for 2. As now Garami looking to answer for a 3, but it's blocked by Patterson. The 6-foot sophomore getting some air underneath that jump as Blakely comes back in for Schroyer. But what a first half for the Schaumburg Saxons. 3 balls draining and defense reigning. Garami at the top, now to Blakely, left side. Garami getting it right back as he finds Ellis, who thought about a 3 for a moment. As his football-style pass finds Blakely. Can't get a 3, but Ellis cleans it up for 2. So Ellis now with 8, in for Hodges again, and who throws it down with 2 hands. Hodges now with 4. Again, not often are you going to see Hodges kind of, in terms of storyline, be outshined in the scoring department, as that 3 at the top is good by Sean Beckman. But so far for Schaumburg, it's been Conant who's got 11 first half points. Hodges looking to chase him in that department now, as he's got 6. Scoring picking up here really for both sides. Mentioned Schaumburg, of course, but now Conant looking to join the party. Beckman for Blakely. Now it's Ellis. It's under 3:20 to go in the half. Beckman. Now Blakely. Garami driving. Stops. Beckman, 3. That's good. Now it's Sean Beckman getting in the 3-point party going for Conant. In for Hodges again. Guarded by Ellis. This time Ellis stopped Hodges as they are going to retry that, and Ellis will be called for the foul on a push. Les O'Connor, the official, making the call. Armand Tarosian and A.J. Prowall coming on into the game as Storino and Karnick, who gets a much-deserved breather, now comes out. Mentioned Karnick with the 11 first half points. As Patterson for Hodges. Shue, who got the earliest scoring going, finds Patterson, and he now has a 3. Boy, the scoring as Ellis can't hold on to that one out of bounds. Saxon's ball. Schaumburg went on a nice pace there. They had about, I believe it was 11 points in a 3-minute span, with 3 threes in that sequence as Hodges inside, floater up and good. And now he's got 8, and he's starting to get hot and feeling his shot inside. This is now 23 second quarter points here for Schaumburg. There's 2 minutes to go. Hodges, the steal. Hodges, the dunk. Time out, Conant. Hodges was quiet in the last matchup on December 6th. Not the case so far here on January 23rd. As now there's 2 Saxons in double digits scoring-wise. As we have 1:54 to play here in our first half of action. Other action taking place tonight around the area. Larkin is over at West Chicago. Glenbart East over at Fenton. Wheeling is taking on Johnsburg. That took place actually yesterday, and it was Wheeling who got the victory in that one. And some earlier action that took place back on Tuesday. Remember, South holding on for a 60-56 win over Bartlett. So backing off the Conant timeout. They've used 3 timeouts here in this first half as Ellis jump pass in for Schroyer as it wheels out now to the top for Ellis again. 100 seconds now remaining in the first half. Schroyer, as now Hodges is off to the bench, by the way, off of this timeout. As this turnaround 2 for Ellis is good, and he's got 10. So now we have 3 players in the double-digit scoring column here tonight. Ellis being the first Cougar to do so. He's got 10 of the team's 18. Patterson driving, nice move. Can't finish on the shot, though, and the rebound by Blakely. Schroyer brings it ahead. And he wanted to leave it off for Ellis, and there's going to be a foul there. He's trying to reach in with Shue. So Shue gets called for the reach, and that'll be his first, and that's the team's 4th. Schroyer getting it right back off the inbound as we have a minute to play in the half. Blakely wanted to drive, but couldn't. He backs it out instead. into the paint. Nice shot and a pretty move by Ajani Cobb. As he drove baseline, almost wheeled out towards the free throw line and was able to finish. And then Cobb's going to get called for a reach, and as we now have just 30.5 seconds remaining. Now, Hodges is going to check back in addition to Conant. Conant still leading scorer here in the game with 11, as Patterson now is at the line for the 1-and-1. That's no good. Can be a live ball. Ellis gets the rebound. As Ellis looking to go coast to coast perhaps. Instead leaves it off for Garami. Now Blakely. Half a minute to go. Schroyer leaves it for Ellis, who for a change isn't guarded by Hodges as we have 15 to go. Cobb. Schroyer with 10. Turning on, ooh, he wanted to go in the paint, but leaves it off for Ellis with 6. Ellis can't get a shot, finds Schroyer with 1 at the buzzer! Brandon Schroyer gets his first bucket of the game, and it ends the first half. But still a lot of work to be done for the Cougars, trailing by 17, 39-22. We'll take our halftime break. We'll come back for second half action and more here on our HETV Sports Network Game of the Week. As we get set now for second half action, 39-22, the visiting Schaumburg Saxons with the lead. Saxons again 9-1 in their last 10 games. They've won 5 in a row, 17-3 overall, 4-1 in the Mid-Suburban League West Division. They put up 25 second quarter points compared to Conant's 18. And a credit though for Conant, they only had 4 first quarter points, so it was a much improved offensive second quarter. As leading the way for the Saxons, it was Arnav Karnik who got his shot going early, had 11 first half points and cooled off a little bit, but it was Chris Hodges then who took over that offensive spark with 10 of his own in the first half. The Wisconsin-bound product, that is. And Devon Ellis, of course, leading the way offensively. He's got 10. And Sean Beckman with a couple of second quarter threes has 8. And now away we go for the second half. Saxons going right to left in their road maroon, and the Cougars in their home whites going left to right on your screen offensively. As for Saxons with control, it's Tarosian. Trying to get a screen from Hodges, but a foul there on the Cougars and Schroyer. Schroyer had that buzzer beater to end our first half of play. It was his first points of the contest tonight as well. Had that running floater inside the free throw line to end us at the end of one half. Tarosian looking to go inside to find Storino, but it's out of bounds, and it will go to Conant. Again, this winning streak for Schaumburg dates back to technically 2019, New Year's Eve, when they beat Hinsdale South to complete the York Jack Tosh Holiday Tournament, as Devon Ellis now has 12. They defeated Hinsdale South 53-48. As in that tournament, they went 5-1 during the 6-day extravaganza over out in DuPage County. Of course, the Jack Tosh, one of the most prestigious holiday tournaments in Illinois high school basketball. Got, of course, the Hinsdale Classic and the tournament down in Pontiac, as this left corner three is good for Tarosian, his first bucket of the game. Getting that win just to finish off that start of the 5-game win streak for Schaumburg. They defeated Hinsdale South 53-48. And then Wheeling, Palatine, Prospect of Barrington have fallen victim to that ever since, as this left arc three to answer for Conant is Matt McCullough. So now McCullough on the board for the first time here. Despite the 3 fouls, he's now got 3 points, as it's now for Hodges right side, in against Ellis. Left corner, Patterson, 3, no, and the rebound to Schroyer. Johnny Cobb leaving that one off now for Schroyer at the right arc. as in for Beckman. There's a foul call that's going to go on Hodges. And that's going to be Hodges' first personal. Also make it the team's first here. As Cobb wheeling in. Floater up. Can't get the bank shot to go. And the rebound controlled by Shu. Shu to the left corner. Terosian feeling it. Little heat check there as he misses. Beckman the rebound. Now the other way, Blake Louie wanted a hot pass there as he wanted to find Ellis. That actually that nearly skipped up into the second deck towards us. It went about 5 rows up, and then it got back towards the level of play. Saxon's ball here. Up by 15, 5:45 to go in the third. Conant, who put up 11 first half points, as that one's left off for Patterson right side. Storino for Conant again. Hodges, guarded by Devon Ellis. You know that's the hot matchup to talk about here tonight. We mentioned it a lot as well on December 6th when we saw these two teams over at Schaumburg in the first of the two meetings. Meetings number 97 and 98 all-time happening between these two teams this season. As this turnaround shot in the paint by Jared Shu is good. He's got 4. Ellis has that one tipped out of bounds. He'll stay with his team as we've now played 3 minutes of this third quarter of play. Ellis goes right back in now to Beckman, guarded by Hodges. As Schroyer almost hesitated there, looking to go for a pass as he goes baseline. That one tipped, almost stolen. Ellis recovers. As Ellis, through 3 defenders, underhand up and in. He's got 14. Boy, Ellis just trying to do everything he can here with his team now down by 15 again. As now they go for Shu. Shu baseline, that's a foul on Beckman. And that'll be his third. Mentioned Beckman with the fouls. He had 2 fouls in the first 50 seconds of our game, and then he's obviously controlled it since until that one. As Garami now comes in for Conant. And also now in for Schaumburg is Jackson Bond. He got a hot hand from 3 in the early stages of that second quarter to really help balloon the lead up for Schaumburg. They're up by as much as 20 at one point, after they went on that incredible offensive splurge. As now Hodges inside. Had a beat on Ellis, but then Ellis comes up with a block of his own. Ellis trying to turn defense to offense, can't, as he stepped out of bounds, couldn't handle the ball. So a little bit of a disappointing result there after the block for Ellis, as he couldn't try to go coast to coast. Now it's for Shu. Now over again to Patterson. Back in for Shu. Times it nicely, counted in the foul. He got Ellis to go for it the first time, as that'll be Ellis' second. And now Shu will be at the line for the and one. Shu's got 6. He makes the and one, it'll be at 7. So we have 3:40 to go here in the third. And the and one is in and out, no. And the rebound to Ellis. Schroyer, I should say Beckman, excuse me. Had no idea the pass was coming towards him. He wanted to cut baseline. Ellis had other plans, a miscommunication there. And another Cougars turnover. Patterson, off now for Bond. Now Karnick. Patterson for Shu again. They want to go inside for Hodges. They don't. Instead, driving off the glass and in is Jared Shu, and he's now got 8. The offensive wealth spread around between the 5 out on the floor for the Saxons right now. As Schroyer is in a tight pressure there from Karnick. As McCullough on the baseline for Ellis. He's going to raise up for three. That's blocked by Patterson. He's now got 2 blocks tonight. We saw him have that chase down block where there was a left corner 3-ball attempt on this side of the floor that Patterson was able to chase down defensively and block out of bounds. As Shu leaves it off for Bond. Shu again, left corner 3. We just talked about that spot, but he's way short. And the rebound to Ellis. As now McCullough wanted to drive, he's fouled. Be a foul on Bond, that's his first. That'll be the team's second here of the half. As Ryan Blakely now comes back in for Brandon Schroyer. Garami to the inbound. As pass for Blakely, almost couldn't handle it. That's going to be out of bounds off of Blakely. So nicely done there by Karnick defensively. As A.J. Proel now will come on in addition to Armen Tarosian. As Shu comes out along with Bond. Patterson leaves it off there for Tarosian, who we mentioned just checked in, and same with Proel, who's got it. Karnick, as we now have 2 minutes to play in the third. Karnick, 3, no good. Mentioned he was feeling it from that spot in the second quarter. As Ellis got the ball but was fouled. As Proel got called trying to be a little aggressive there going for the steal. As Bond quickly now comes back in for Karnick. And in now for Conant is Ajani Cobb. As McCullough now will step off to the bench. Blakely will inbound. As we now have 1:45 to go here in the third quarter. Blakely for Garami again inside. Or rather out, he wanted to go inside I should say. Ellis finds Blakely. Ellis top circle. Poked away and stolen. That's Tarosian coming the other way. Bond, corner 3. Too strong. Hodges the offensive rebound and put back off the glass. He's now got 12. Ellis still the leading scorer as he's got 14 as Garami feeds it for Beckman and he scores to counter. Deficit down to 19 for Conant. Left off Proel left arc. As Tarosian finds Bond. In for Hodges. Hodges. Off for Bond again. 3-ball, no good. Tarosian the offensive rebound and put back. It's now a 21-point Saxons lead. Ellis, well, he wanted to pull up for that free throw line extended jumper as Cobb drives baseline. Back now to Blakely with a half minute to go. Garami. For Blakely. Now Ellis in a tight space in the right corner as we now have 15 to go in the third. Pass for Blakely. Left corner 3. That's good. Ryan Blakely off the pass. Cross court from Ellis as with 6 seconds to go in the third. Proel drives into the paint, shot no, and that is how the third quarter of play will come to an end. But a much more tightly contested third as the Saxons only outscored the Cougars by the score of 13-12 in that third quarter of play as we're getting set for the fourth quarter here in just a couple of moments. Try to see if we can get you an update on some scores around the area as we see them posted. Over in the, maybe a little bit of an earlier update, but this is the one I can find at the moment. It was Barrington off to a nice start against Hoffman Estates. Barrington with a 9-2 lead. Last we're able to get a live look at. And the Broncos with a 14-5 overall record, but the division record not as pretty at 2-3 so far. And that third conference loss came into effect when we mentioned the 51-50 win that Schaumburg had last Friday, where they had the baseball-style pass, that being Barrington down towards the front court to try to get a last second shot, but The Wisconsin product, Chris Hodges, was able to tip it away, and that was all she wrote in that game 6 nights ago. And Hodges, who was averaging a double-double of 20 and 10, he only had 7 points in that game on Friday. But it was that key defensive stop that he'll remember the most out of that game. As Cobb, off the start of the fourth quarter, raises up for 3, misses. Ellis the offensive rebound. Turns around, shot, no. Ball still tipped out, and it's controlled by Cobb. And then over there to McCullough. Blakely, who had a late 3 at the end of the third, leaves it for Schroyer. Now it's Ellis. Off the screen. Finds McCullough. Off now a screen from Ellis into the paint. Short on the layup, and Prowell the rebound. We've seen Conant get a lot of decent looks inside, just haven't been able to finish. One of the reasons why this deficit is what it's at, as Ellis tried to go for the steal. As now in that corner there was Cameron Nix, as now it's Jared Shue. Nix driving, but a foul. Shot was on the floor, will not be a shooting foul, as they're going to get that on Ryan Blakely, and that'll be his first. So that'll be his first personal. Baseline inbound here for Schaumburg, who are looking to get to their 6th straight win on this streak that they're on, while Conant is in danger of falling to 4 straight losses. And now it goes for Shue. Against Ellis, too strong on the shot. May have been too far to the right as well off the glass, as Blakely finds McCullough. Ellis left corner as he faces the defensive Shue, as Hodges is on the bench right now. And just as I say that, he's getting set to check in at the scorer's table. Cobb, right side drive, kick for Ellis at the top. Ellis, left corner. Cobb, 3, short, rebound. Ellis again. He'll go up for it instead. Why not? He's short on the shot, and the rebound controlled by Tarosian. Nix finds Prowell. He had 7 points in that win against Barrington, gets 2 here. And that's his first points of the night. A.J. Prowell is now this baseball pass from Ellis off the fingertips of McCullough is out of bounds. As now Hodges, Ryan Muldoon checking in for the first time, and Voorhees Patterson back in. As Prowell, Nix, and Tarosian go to the bench. Patterson. Now off for Storino. Storino got the start tonight. He had 6 points against Barrington on Friday, as Hodges stops, has it poked away and stolen by Schroyer. Hodges a little lazy with that one in terms of ball handling. And credit to Schroyer there defensively. Nice move inside as this baseline kick out for Ellis. 3 ball is no good. Schroyer cleans it up though instead for 2. Schroyer now with 4. As we have seen some good second chance opportunities here from Conant in this game. They've been able to clean up some offensive rebounds. As now Hodges, he's got 12. Short on the fall away, and Ellis the rebound. Thinking about raising up for 3 is McCullough, but we get a whistle and a foul on Schaumburg. It's going to go on Patterson. That's his first, as Nick Garami now comes in. Blakely will come out for Conant. Next Thursday, it'll be the Saxons and the Vikings of Fremd in a pivotal West Division showdown in the Mid-Suburban League next Thursday night. As Ellis in the paint scores. He may have been poked in the eye as well. But either way, it's still points nevertheless. And that's going to be a charge. Schroyer takes it defensively. And our next scheduled broadcast, will we be seeing the same Conant team against Barrington, or will be over at Palatine taking on Hoffman Estates? Those are some matchups coming up next week that we'll be seeing around the league. As McCullough, nice drive inside. Oh, we can't finish on the shot, though, as we're halfway through the fourth. As Patterson wheels to the top of the circle. Ooh, Shu had a wide open look. Passed it up, though, as Hodges faces a double team. Finds Shu again off the glass. No, but he's fouled. So Cobb gets called for the foul. It's his second. Shu's now at the line, and he'll be at the line for 2. As the Saxons are looking to move to their 18th win on the season, should they hold on. Their 5th in conference play. As Karnick now comes back in along with Nix. Shu and Ryan Muldoon come out. That shot there misses, and that one keeping it in for a split second there was Nix. As Ellis to Garami, faked the 3, lost the handle. McCullough cleans it up, and it'll circle back to Garami at the top. McCullough left angle. Finds Cobb. That's a 3. That's no good. And the rebound controlled by Nix. Proal now set to come back in for Schaumburg. Next dead ball. As Karnick, it goes over to Nix, then Shu. Now it's over to Patterson. In now for Hodges. Faces a double team. That leaves a wide open Patterson for 3. That's short. Rebound picked up by Nix, and he's fouled going up for it. And now he'll be at the line for a pair. That's going to go on Schroyer, and that's going to be his 3rd. As for the Saxons, getting set to come on in, will be a couple more players off the bench. Ian Much, number 32, the 5'10 junior guard, is set to come on in. Mentioned Prowell along with Karsten Canella. So those 3 come in as Shu, Hodges, and Patterson come out. So the bench starting empty here for head coach Wade Heisler and the Saxons. With his team up by 18 and under 3 minutes to go. Heard a little bit of an extra cheer from the crowd there with Much coming into the ball game. Garami, that 3's blocked by Nix, but he recovers. He's tripped up, no foul. Lost it out of bounds to the Saxons. Nix into the front court for Prohl. Karnick for Much. I think every time Much gets the ball, I think the fans that are in attendance on his bench want him to take a shot. As a whistle and a foul there goes on Schroyer. Again, the Schaumburg faithful have traveled as now the Conant bench is going to empty on out. Sohan Patel comes on in along with George Tofik. Ryan Blakely now back in, and also Chris Armstrong checking in for the first time as Ellis, McCullough, and Schroyer and Cobb come on out. And for Schaumburg, it was Luke Phelps, number 25, who just checked in. And we're also going to be seeing Ryan Christians in, as the first of this 1-and-1 is good. So Christians now comes in, Proel now comes out. So the benches have emptied, with the Saxons up by 20. Second free throw, no, and the rebound controlled by Chris Armstrong, the 6-foot junior guard. Now it's Patel leaving it off for Garami. The only player out there who's had active minutes in this game prior. As Armstrong drives, kick out, right corner. Blakely, forgot about him as well. He's also seen action in this game as he misses the 3. And the rebound controlled by Canella. That one almost intercepted by Blakely out of bounds. They'll stay with Schaumburg. Under 2 minutes to go now. Again, the Saxons have a tough 6 days to get ready for when it comes to seeing the Fremd Vikings, who are no tough feat in the MSL West this season, as this pass is intercepted and stolen. A bad pass there. Tofik recovers. Now it's Armstrong the other way. Blocked from behind by Canella. Now it's Nix the other way scoring. And coming up for Conant, they'll be taking on Barrington, as I mentioned, next Thursday. As Blakely will raise for three. That's too strong. Tipped over to Much for the rebound. Now it's Much the other way. Leaving it off for Nix. Inside, Canella scores. As the final minute now will come on down, Blakely. Almost traveling there as Tofik inside. That pass is tipped and stolen, and all alone away with this one is Nix, who wanted to throw it down with one hand, but he still made the 2 points. It's not how he'll take it, but it's 2 points nevertheless. Now a 26-point lead as the Saxons are going to move to 6 wins in a row, 5-1 in the MSL West, and an overall record of 18-3, while the Cougars will fall as that 3 falls for Blakely. Conant's going to fall to 1-5 in conference play. Backcourt steal. Blakely missed that 3. Saves it, though, to Garami. As the final 10 seconds are going to tick on down, Conant will fall to 3-15 as Armstrong's 3 is good in the right corner. And that will do it for us here tonight inside the William N. Perry Gymnasium. The barrage of 3-pointers in that second quarter made the difference in the way this game played out. As our final score here tonight, the Saxons 64 and the Cougars 44. So the Cougars now have dropped 4 in a row, while the Saxons have a 6-pack in a row of 6 wins so far to date in a row. Both teams shake hands in midcourt. Again, Schaumburg will have a date with Fremd next Thursday, while Conant will be taking on Barrington in a week as well. Again, for Steve Eisen, for our stuff behind the scenes, our camera operations and producing, I'm Ryan Fay signing off. This has been Mid-Suburban League West Division basketball here on the Hoffman Estates Cable TV Sports Network Game of the Week. We'll see you next time. So long.